Hello, my name is Michael Lambert, and today I want to talk a little bit about Benny Hill's little trip to India, and I'd like to talk also a little bit about immigration and about a particular aspect of immigration which I think has not been properly considered, particularly in the light of the possibility of further immigration from India. Before I start, if you haven't already subscribed, I'd really be grateful if you would, and if you wouldn't mind hitting the like button if you approve of what I'm saying, I would appreciate that too, because that will help me being seen by more people. So Johnson went to India for 2 days. The idea was to drum up some new trade. Now, the two benefits of Brexit, as we all know, were partly to be able to do trade with countries all over the world that are queuing up to do business with us, and also that we'd be able to control immigration. So for the last 16 months, Johnson and his photographers and little Liz Truss and her photographers all been running around the world trying to get trade deals with all these countries that were just queuing up to do business deals with us. And so far we've got two miserable little deals, one with Australia, one with New Zealand, but we're desperate for some more. And given that our trade with the EU is now down 15%, we desperately need more deals. So Johnson went off to India to try and drum up some business. Now, when you have any negotiation, it is best that both parties are equally powerful in the negotiation, because then you're allowed to arrive at a fair result, a fair agreement. But when you have one party that is absolutely desperate and another party that couldn't really care less, the person who's desperate is unlikely to come away with very much. And indeed, Johnson came away with nothing. He came away with promises about further talks and the possibilities of deals and all the rest of it. But India's a big country, and it would have been great to get a deal with such a big country, except that, let me just put this into context as the business we do with India. Our exports to India last year was 7.7 billion. This is India with a population of 1.4 billion. Our exports to Belgium were 18.8 billion, 2.5 times as much. Belgium, who are part of the enemy territory we really don't want to deal with, we've erected all these massive barriers to trade, so to try and stop trade with Belgium, but we're still, somehow or other, still managing to sell them 18.8 billion. This is a country with a population of 12 million. But we're happy to sacrifice that in order to try and get deals with countries like India. If I try to put this again into context of my own personal experience, I as I've mentioned before, I had a lot of customers all over Europe. And I had customers in Belgium, in Brussels. And what I would do, I mean, I live in West London. I'd leave home at sort of 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock in the morning. I'd take the tube to St Pancras. I'd get on the Eurostar. I'd be in Brussels in time for lunch, have a nice lunch. Go and see my customer and spend an hour or two chatting, and then get back on the train, come home, and I'd be home in time for 9 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock in the evening. In the meantime, I'd have sent through the order. The order would have been packed up, probably sent off the same day, and the goods would have been in my customer's shop within 48 hours of him giving me the order. No paperwork except for an invoice. He'd have paid through the bank, and that would have been that. Now, we've managed to erect barriers to make that now no longer possible. It's just too difficult. The moment this happened, my customer and all my customers just said, we're not prepared to start employing agents to fill in forms and to pay extra prices for all the inconvenience and to wait indefinite amounts of time for the goods to arrive. We don't want to deal with you anymore. And I'm just one of tens of thousands of companies. Now, the government, and bear in mind that there are no business people in the government, they haven't got a clue about business, and they don't seem to want to use business, they don't seem to consult businesses. The government's idea is that there's a whole world out there. We've got all these opportunities because there are so many countries that are desperate to do business. So what you should do is you forfeit all your European business. That doesn't really matter. They're just enemy. We don't like them anyway. They've been shackling us for all these years. It was a nightmare being members, and now we've broken free. We can unleash our potential. We should go off all over the world. And like Johnson, I'm supposed to put some samples in a suitcase and get on a plane to New Delhi and walk around looking for customers? Do I have a look on the internet, see what I can sell? Do I have to go off to maybe South America or Vietnam, Indonesia? All these fantastic countries can't wait to do business with us. Well, if all we can do with the whole of India, 1.4 billion people, all we can do is a third of what we were doing with Belgium, I'm going to have my work cut out going around with a suitcase of samples. It is just so flawed, so nonsensical, so stupid for anyone to ever think that that could possibly work. And it doesn't work, and it isn't working. And so for British companies now, they just don't bother to export. It's just too difficult. For bigger companies, medium-sized, for bigger companies, it's okay because they've got all the facilities. They can cope with all the extra bureaucracy. They've probably got offices in other countries and so on. But you know, every single big business started as one or two people. And you have to nurture small business. And when, as we had this vast market 22 miles away across the channel, the richest and most powerful market in the world, and we've erected barriers to make it as difficult as possible to deal with them, and then we're told to go off finding opportunities around the world. It's beyond crazy. It's absolutely senseless. And we're all paying for it. I mean, exports to the EU are down 15% on pre-pandemic levels. Now, India have always said that if we're going to do any trade deal with the UK, we will want a lot of visas for our people to come to the UK to work. And we've made it quite clear we don't want any riffraff coming here. We've got rid of all that EU riffraff, all those people that used to work in the fields and used to work in the abattoirs and used to work in care homes. And so we don't want any of them coming here. So we don't want from India either. We only want the brightest to the best, because we are transforming from a low-wage, low-skills economy to a high-wage, high-skills economy. So that's what's going to happen. So in due course, if we do a trade deal with India, we're going to have to give them a lot of visas. Now, India is famous for its IT sector. They're fantastic on the whole computer thing is very, very advanced. And there are lots and lots of clever people who would probably very much like to come to the UK. And so to get a deal, we have to give these people lots and lots and lots of visas, and they'll all come to the UK to work. Now, supposing you're a company, you're running a big business in the UK, and you need a really expert IT guy. And IT guys are pretty well paid, so you're budgeting £100,000 a year for a guy to run your IT department. And suppose you then find out that all of a sudden you can get somebody just as skilled, just as experienced from India for 40,000. What's going to happen? What's going to happen is that wages in this whole sector are going to be driven down, because it's just going to be cheaper to employ somebody from India than it is somebody locally. Now, I, from time to time, have had websites built for various businesses, and I've used what you might call freelancers. There's a people per hour website which is just freelancers, another one called Fiverr. And you go on there and you look for people to design websites for you, and you look at UK designers, and they're sort of £50, £60 an hour, sometimes more. But you look at the Indians, and they're all there, all mixed up together. Indians, Bangladeshis, £8 an hour, £10 an hour, do just as good a job. I mean, I've always used Indians because they're so cheap. Quarter, the fifth of the price. And that's what's going to happen. So in order to get these desperately needed deals, we're going to have to allow into the country people who are prepared to undercut very high paid workers in this country. And that is something I don't think has been considered. Now, immigration is, as I said before, it's the big it was a big issue. At the time of Brexit, it was the big issue. Now, of course, as I think I mentioned last week, I mean, it's much less of a concern. On a survey done by Ipsos Mori in January, it came out as ninth most important issue that people were concerned about. In other words, it's not really an issue anymore. But we're going to have to admit a lot more people, particularly for the health service. What will happen as far as agriculture is concerned and hospitality and so on, well, that's up to the government as to whether or not we're going to allow people in to do those sort of jobs. We're going to have to get people for the NHS. And indeed, the government is advertising jobs in places like the Philippines and Nigeria and India and Pakistan. And immigration from those countries is way up. I have actually got some figures here. I mean, immigration from Pakistan is up 255%. From Nigeria, it's 415%. From India, it's 164%. Now, these are very often doctors and nurses who've been trained in these countries. There's a moral issue about whether or not it's right that we should, as a rich country, should go around taking these people from these poorer countries or not. Nonetheless, they're all coming here. I mentioned in a video some time ago about someone I know very well who's working with 4 guys who are delivering food on those little scooters. And they've come to the UK from the Philippines, and they've come with their 10 children and their 4 wives. And the reason they've come is because the 4 wives are nurses and they're working for the NHS. And so in order to get all these people in that we need for the health sector, for the care sector and so on, these essential people, we're not only going to have to invite them to come, but we have to invite or allow them to invite all their families to come with them. You know, if you come across from Poland or you come across from Spain to work, you don't need to bring your family. It's very unlikely you even to think about bringing your family. You just come here. I mean, talk about pre-Brexit. But if you're coming from the other side of the world, I mean, you don't want to leave your family for good. You want to bring your family, especially if you've got wife and children. And so I think what is going to happen is that we're just going to be so desperate for people, because after all, we're an ageing population, and whatever people may say, however much people may not like it, we are going to need immigrants. We badly need immigrants to do the jobs, to pay the taxes that are going to support us all when we all get old, like me. And so this whole thing is so senseless. I was going to say badly thought out. It's beyond that. It's just crazy, nuts, bonkers, the whole thing. And it always was. You could see it was bonkers. You can see how badly it's all falling to pieces. You can see how things are just not working. And the question I have really is this, that we've taken back control. Immigration is higher than it was before the pandemic. It's now all from other countries, hardly any from the EU. And what's the gain from that? What do we get out of it? What is the point of it? And so the result of all this policy, this ill thought out policy, is that what we're going to do, we've managed to get rid of all these people from the EU who came and went, and very often came for a short periods. You know, all those 20-somethings who came and worked in Costas and Starbucks and so on, and worked in hotels and whatever. All those people that came from Romania and Bulgaria and came and picked carrots in the summer for 6 weeks and then went home again. We replaced all those people for really floods of people from countries far away, particularly Pakistan, India, Bangladesh and Nigeria, who are going to come here and settle and bring their families and drive down wages. So really, where is the benefit in all that? And as I say, young people used to be able to come here, and they come for a couple of years and a great experience, practice their English and so on. And likewise, our young people went to Europe, and they were able to learn languages and get to know other countries and so on. But that's all gone now. That's all gone now because we dislike Europe so much, because Europe has done us so much damage. It's been so terrible for us. The whole nightmare of EU membership has finally come to an end, and now we're global Britain again, as Benny Hill made very clear last week. Anyway, that's what I have to say today. If you approve of what I said, if you wouldn't mind hitting the like button, I'd appreciate it very much. And if you haven't already subscribed, if you wouldn't mind subscribing, I'd be grateful for that too. And so until next time, bye for now.